Welcome, everyone, to the Expand podcast. I am Zarin Beatty, and we are sitting here with Nick Serrano. Nick, it is an absolute pleasure to be in here with you. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. So much love, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
So much love, dude.
Yeah.
We've really only known each other for about a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe 1 or 2 weeks max. It's special, dude, the kind of people that we can come across and meet and kind of actually build a relationship with. And they might be our next door neighbors, but we may never even realize.
Yeah.
So I basically met you because I was in Eyes of the World, and it's one of the places I check out a lot here in Boise. It's full of incredible gems and crystals and incense and just really good energy. There's that place, and there's Earthlight here in Boise.
Love Earthlight.
Dude, I'm there all the time.
She's such a sweetheart, too.
She really is.
Yeah.
Any person who works there, any person who works at Eyes of the World, you're probably going to be pretty dope people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the most part, for sure.
You have to be pretty legit to kind of even be in that environment. And dude, this room, I was in there. I'm not going to say how much I spent, but in there the other day, and we have 3 beautiful crystals as the centerpiece between the both of us, right in the middle of our round table. Smoky quartz, a labradorite, and carnelian. And this just brings the whole room together. So thank you for helping me, dude, apply this brand new motion of energy in here, because every person that's been in here ever since has subconsciously and consciously been aware of this.
Dude, it's, my favorite thing to do is help people find things that are going to help them in any way, whether it be the metaphysical, getting deeper into themselves. I just love helping people kind of wake up to their self, That's what I'm all about, getting people to wake to their highest self, whether it be through meditation, be through just having a conscious conversation, bringing things forth that you don't want to face, in your daily lives, but they're there and we got to face them, and whatever can take you to your Zen den, man, or if that's inside, or in your house, we all need that. So it's, a pleasure to be able to help you out in that aspect, help out everyone who comes in. I love being a part of that environment. It's a great place for me, great place for anyone to come check out,
It's cool too. I mean, just the way that you explain that, we'd never realize how much our one ripple influences the people around us. I mean, you just said, help everybody else out that comes in this room. Like, you're a part of this process now because of, an hour with me in a store, essentially.
Right.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Definitely.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And we've already had unbelievable discussions, man. And I honestly have no idea where this is about to go, but
Sure.
That's the beauty in this.
Right.
And that's what I feel like the beauty in our comfort with one another, in our acceptance and welcoming nature, and just where we both are within the presence of our inner self. Because we can really feel each other and flow with each other in a pretty different way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. When I first saw you come into the store, usually a lot of times in the mind we have a defense mechanism where we judge people. If you kind of look into it, there's no way to get out of that. You can meditate and you can create space between you and the mind, but that judgment is going to be there, and it's a matter of, choosing to look at it in a positive way or a negative way. If it's a negative way, usually comparing yourself to somebody, and it's something that has to do with the self. You're comparing yourself because you feel maybe you're not good enough or what. But when people come into the store, or if I go out in my daily life, whether I go to Albertsons or whatever, I look at people and I just kind of see how they hold themselves, and I could tell immediately when you came in how you were holding yourself is oh, I got to talk to this guy, I can feel vibes, and this is something that I feel I'm really in tune with my feelings. So I get vibes from people when they come in, and I'm oh man, opportunity to expand my mind, expand myself, meet beautiful people. That's what that store for me is all about, showing up to work every day. The stuff on the walls that we sell, that's just material things, but it's the experience in between for me that I thoroughly enjoy growing as a person. I look at every day as an opportunity to grow, to be better. So yeah, seeing you at the store, I had something, that feeling inside, it was probably mutual, I don't know, but I just felt like I should go up and say something, and I did, and it led to everything where we are right now. It's beautiful, man. So thank you, dude, for coming into our store and just,
Thank you as well. Dude. And you're 100% right, man. It was beyond mutual. There's that deeper recognition, and it's amazing. I mean, we've even touched base on this before, but the better you're able to feel the emotions in yourself, the better you're able to feel the people who align with your pure, genuine self, man. And that for me has really only come through meditation, because we have an aura, we have a presence, we have this vibe that comes with us that is included in every single person we meet, and every hand we touch, and everything we say, and everything we eat. It builds this frequency that builds the person we are. And to come across people who you don't vibe with, not in a judgmental aspect, but you can just feel there's a separation of connection. And that doesn't mean don't love them. That doesn't mean, don't approach them with kindness or anything, but you can really feel the difference in those people and the people that you really do align with. And that comes back into, it's almost like a deep, true namaste. Like the soul within me recognizes the soul within you. And from there, it's almost like when we're able to feel ourselves so deeply, we're able to feel other people so deeply because they feel so closely to how we feel internally.
Absolutely. Definitely.
And I know you're pretty into meditation, and it's incredible because this is one of the most beautiful things on the planet for me to talk about.
Right on.
Because it bleeds into every other aspect of our life, and our behavior and our perception and our trauma and our memories and our emotions and how we greet people and how we allow people to greet us. I mean, when we can sit with the soil of our true behavior, we understand what even makes up that soil.
Definitely, man. That's beautiful. In that though, sitting in your own soil, it's like, that's a really great analogy. Looking back on, this is like a human experience. We have, being around people growing up, you have father figures, mothers, aunts and uncles, all these different people who influence you, and you see their pain growing up. And that's part of your soil. That's who you are, and you take the good from all these different things, you take the bad from all these things, and it makes you who you are, awareness. That's really what it is. Becoming aware of all these things, I think awareness is everything. Awareness is love is, and so being able to see that in the other person is seeing it in yourself. That's all we can really do here is, that's becoming your best self, just loving, accepting. It's all that I think that there is in this life. Everything is love. Everything's based out of love, and so.
100%. And I feel like anybody who deeply meditates can resonate with that concept, because it seems to be one of those like cosmic lessons that every person should be learning.
Yes.
Or is learning.
Definitely.
I've been kind of trying to gather these lessons. Like one of them is fear, one of them's love. I realized that one was when people feel overwhelmed. That's like another cosmic lesson. Yes. So I'm like jotting these little things down kind of to build this understanding of what are these commonalities that people in general experience.
Definitely.
And what are these things that we're all trying to learn in different aspects of life,
Yeah.
But what got you into meditation?
So starting out, I would say as a kid, I would lay down in bed, go to sleep. My parents, I have a mom, she was pretty strict. I would be in bed at 8 o'clock every night, you know. My parents are divorced, so excuse me. So I would go to my dad's house. They've been divorced pretty much my entire life. So I lived with my mom most of the time, go to my dad's every other weekend. Lucky for me, they lived right across the street from each other. No joke, I could throw a rock.
That's pretty fortunate.
It really is, you know, and it was awesome. I'm really blessed because, like I was saying, I would be at my mom's and she would be like, oh, we're going to bed. You got to be in bed at 8 o'clock, you know. There's other kids in the house. You got to be respectful of all this, you know. And then I go to my dad's on the weekend. He's like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to bed. Lock the door before you go to bed. I'm like, freedom, you know. No, but so I would go to bed at my mom's listening to rock and roll music. She wasn't the biggest fan of it. But my dad, he played drums in like a grunge rock band growing up. So he's grown in bands. So going over to my dad's was kind of this world of just all different things kind of coming in American culture. You know, you get bands, meeting all kinds of different people with long hair and, you know, people who are a little bit more laid back in their life, so to say. And then going to my mom's was almost complete opposite, you know? And so I kind of had the best of both worlds. So kind of going back to that, I would lay down in bed and listen to music, and she would always, if she caught me, she'd be like, no, turn off the music, you know? And I was like, okay. She's like, you just need to go to bed. She's really focused on me being, you know, being a good person, whatever that means to her, going to bed, waking up, getting your 8 hours of sleep, you know? And for me, I had energy, man. I'm such an energetic kid. I was one of those kids in school I could not hold still, you know? My mom even had to come to school a couple of times and sit in the back of the class and just like watch me. She's like, Nick, you need to chill out, dog. And so, yeah, I would listen to music and totally get lost in the music. And what it was for me is I would depict the guitar playing. As I'm a musician myself, I've been playing guitar since I was 9, almost 20 years now of playing guitar, you know, relentlessly too. I mean, I would spend 6 to 8 hours a day sitting in front of YouTube, just devouring all these different genres, different musicians, you know. And so it started with laying down, listening to music, hearing a guitar solo, and trying to understand and comprehend what is being played without actually doing it. So I'm like visualizing all this stuff happening. And so I would get completely lost in myself, become just the witness. I had no idea what any of this stuff meant until I had got into like what I was saying earlier, meditation, you know, quotation, meditation, what people say meditation, you know, there's books on how to meditate, and it's like, well, there's no real way to meditate.
Yeah,
you
totally.
literally just, you know, things like that could totally fault people in their journey. And so, yeah, I had this dream one night after I'd moved out and was well established as an adult, living on my own. I was kind of in a weird place. I quit my band that I was in after being in that band for over 10 plus years with my best friends, you know. And I found binaural beats. A friend of mine was like, hey, check out binaural beats. I was like, okay, you know, lay down, put on my headphones, totally just get lost in my breathing, just like a float, you know, you just get lost. I felt my body go numb. It started vibrating all weird. I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I got scared and kind of came out of it. A couple nights later, I had this dream, and this guy with this white beard kind of walks to the front door of my mom's house. And I went out and like gave him a hug and like met with him. And I can't really remember anything being said. And it was very, very profound. So I looked the dream up the next day, told a few people about it, you know, and about a month and a half or two later, I went to Barnes and Noble, found this book called The Buddha Said by Osho. On the back cover, there's a picture of Osho, and it was that guy from my dream. I was like, what is this? Trippy. Basically the start of my meditation right there. Read that book. Every page I flipped through was just completely blowing my mind. I was like, I can't believe that this is where I should be at. This is who I am. He is saying everything that's inside. He is pulling it out of me, these things. I've been living in such a wrong way, but it wasn't wrong. I was just kind of groping in the dark, trying to find my way, you know? And then the universe gave me what I needed when I needed it, and how the universe always does. I don't know how it does that, but it's the greatest thing ever, you know?
Dude, that just gave me chills. Because you briefly described that story before this episode. But to hear it explained in that manner, dude, you just sent chills through my whole body. Like the universe knows what we need when we need it. The medicine knows, man. Whether it's in Peru with, working with shamanic healers and how they help orchestrate and facilitate the ceremony and the experience and the medicine and the communication between metaphysical and physical realm. They become that bridge of communication. They are pure chakarunas, bridges. It's so beautiful how and when we receive the messages we receive. And I love that you said it was wrong, but it really wasn't wrong. You were just kind of groping in the dark.
Yes.
That's so beautiful and so non-judgmental and accepting and understanding of our process as people. Just because we may not know what we're doing does not mean we're stupid. It means that we may not have been presented with certain information yet.
Definitely.
And going deeper into, meditation and understanding even in myself, and I'm sure you felt this same thing of, oh, if I would have only learned this lesson sooner, then I wouldn't have behaved that way. But that's not how it works.
No, definitely.
Like you've learned the lesson because of that behavior.
Absolutely.
And now what are you going to do with it? It's amazing how we evolve as people, as conscious beings, man.
Yes.
Dang. So I have many questions for you, but
sure.
What are some of the ways that Osho has really helped you kind of delve deeper?
There's a book that I've read. I've watched a lot of Osho talks online. He died in 1990. I was born in 91, so I never had the ability to see or the opportunity to see him in my life. However, I felt this really awesome connection, like I was saying, with that story. And so ever since then, he's kind of been my guide through meditation. He's a mystic, a guru, a Christ, whatever you want to say. He's an enlightened being. So he has lots of books. I recommend any book you can find by Osho. He's hundreds of books. He doesn't write his books. They're taken from his speeches. And so they're just put into books. And they flow. He speaks in a way that almost like he's reading from a book. So when you read his book, it's literally like he wrote it. He didn't. He's phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. One of the most beautiful people this world has ever seen. And so many people missed, going against, the mind comes in, And so anyways, back to that. Sorry, I like to get a little off, but there's a book called The 112 Meditations, the Book of Secrets by Osho. And it literally goes through and he talks about all these different meditation techniques that the mind can handle. There's no more that can be added to this book. It's pretty much got everything for every mind out there, So I started reading that and I didn't just read one meditation, contemplate that meditation. I literally read it as if I was reading a story. So I just read it, flipped to the next meditation, read that one. And as I'm reading this too, I'm practicing, but I'm not trying to get too caught up on it. Because if you get too caught up on it, you're making this, you're creating an environment for the mind to come in. So in Osho, he says silence spoken in words. He'll speak, so you have the opportunity to be quiet. And so when I read his books, I'm reading as if he's sitting and talking in front of me. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So you're not going to be like, wait, Osho, hold up for a second. Wait, can you rephrase that? So you can't, if you're reading, I don't go back and be like, oh, let me read this again. I didn't quite understand. I'll come back way later in a couple days. It'll make sense maybe in the next chapter. Your mind, it'll make a full circle if you keep going and keep pushing, that intensity, that point, keep it going. The universe will answer you. It knows what you're feeling. It's like your heart beats, boom, a ripple hits, everything kind of comes, it answers you,
Yeah, that's there's some power in watching the full presentation of something. And I think for me personally, meditation's been huge for that. because if you react too quickly, then you miss the full story. So to be able to sit with like the full presentation of what you're going through, of a memory, of an emotion, of a piece of trauma in your life, anything, like if you're willing to sit there with it and feel what it feels like and comprehend the feeling and really absorb what's happening. I mean, I don't know if are many things that can build that level of strength
Right.
that comes from that.
Yeah. And if you were to try to understand it with the mind, you would be understanding things that your ego wants you to understand. But if you sit through and just kind of absorb it, you'll take away the things that are necessary for you to take away for, you know?
If you think about it, that's a really cool way to put it. When you eat like a steak or something, your body's going to absorb the nutrients that you need, not what you think you need, right? So that must be pretty similar in that metaphysical sense too.
Definitely.
Because you're 100% right. When we sit with things, we build the wisdom that we were like needing to learn. And that's the power of evolving as a person, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you, man. And that's like, I love to just say surrender is everything, you know, love is surrender. I'm on a great surrender experiment. I read a book called The Surrender Experiment, actually, by this guy named Mickey Singer, or Michael Singer. He goes by Mickey. He has a book. When he was in college, he wrote his dissertation paper on it, and it's called The Search. And it just pretty much goes in scientifically about the ego, the I in you, you know, and he tries to kind of he goes about it in a scientific way. So it is meditative, but he's trying to almost understand it with the mind. And you can see that. He has another book later, probably a few years later on, and it's called The Untethered Soul. It's one that it was one of the first books I had picked up getting into like self-help meditation. I was kind of on a weird journey in my life. I moved from one side of the Treasure Valley of Idaho to the other, and I didn't want to be on that side anymore. I wanted to be out here. And so I was living with a buddy. He had moved away, and so I was kind of on my own at short notice. So I lived out of my truck for a little bit, got a storage unit, put all my stuff in there, kind of couch hopped, and that was the start. I purchased that book, The Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul, and I felt it, I connected, and somehow I was like, this is what I got to do. So I just started to let go, you know, in life, just see where things were taking me, you know. And when things kind of come up in your life, you don't want to repress it. You want to kind of live it out and see where it goes. You'll know when the right moment for you to leave it is, you know, or to continue on with this. And so I got good at feeling, opening my heart and just letting things kind of happen how they're going to happen, not how I want them to happen, you know? And once I started to get the feel for that, it just all came flooding down like an avalanche, man. It just all started, the snowball started rolling, it started connecting, all these dots, circles started being made in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I got to be doing, you know? But I don't know. I think it's one of those things too that I've tried to help people along the way in ways that I thought I was helping. And that's another lesson I've learned. You know, it's a matter, you can learn through everything in your life, you know, but people got to come to these things on their own terms, you know, not everyone, but a lot of people.
Very, very well put. And for you being a musician, you mentioned that you like the singing bowls. And these are like, this is a concept that has become more and more interesting to me, like the deeper I go into meditation. And you explained it to me one time. It was just like, oh man, like, that makes so much sense. Would you kind of want to explain what the singing bowls do for you and why you're attracted to them?
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge thing for me, is singing bowls, musical instruments, let's just say, you know, hand-eye coordination, being able to have an instrument in your hands and being able to go within yourself and pull that out through the instrument, you know, whether it be singing bowl, whether it be a guitar, drums, bass, piano, cello, whatever it is, Everyone, there's musicians. If you're a musician, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. I pick up a guitar. Side note, we are instruments to the divine. Everything happens through us. That's why love is so important. Guitar for me, I pick up my guitar. I could be stressed out. I start strumming a few chords, playing. I don't try to like limit myself, pigeonhole myself into any categories of should I be playing metal, should I be playing reggae or jazz, whatever it is. As I sit down to play, I just let whatever is kind of inside of me kind of come out, and I'll hit record on a voice memo on my phone and just jam. And then I pull songs out of these little recordings, and those are my meditation. It's just closing my eyes and just feeling my everything kind of connect. My hands doing whatever the guitar is, making those beautiful notes, something my soul can just sing over, and that's a huge meditation for me. Singing bowl is very similar, I started at Eyes of the World about a year ago. I've been messing with singing bowls for about 3 or 4 years now. Before I worked there, I really didn't know a whole lot about them other than, you just kind of take the mallet around the outside, play it a little bit, boom, that's all it is. Really, that's the truth of it. That's all there is to it. However, when you use it as a tool, you go inside and you close your eyes and you get that singing bowl ringing, and you're just, what I do for me is I say, the sound of the bowl brings me to my true self. And this is something that I say, it's like a mantra I have with my inner voice. So not my physical voice, but my inner voice. I hold the singing bowl around my hara area, so my belly button, my navel there, and I get the bowl to sing. And as I'm saying this, what I'm doing is I'm trying to slow the mind down, or just kind of get the mind down to where it's not so sporadic and crazy and muddy in my mind, in my head, so the singing bowl just kind of does that. Having that mantra, I'm talking almost into this vibration. The sound of the bowl brings me to my true self. As it's ringing, my inner voice is saying that, and I'm trying to like focus. And it's kind of like Wim Hof breathing, how you take these huge deep breaths in, and what you're doing is you're trying to like get into that deepest part of that. Your body starts to tingle and you start to go deep within your consciousness, and you feel it, and you may even become unconscious for a few seconds because you're going so deep within yourself. All meditation really is very similar. All religions are talking about the same thing essentially. All meditation's trying to get you to go to the same place basically. So doing that singing bowl, I'm trying to get down deep as possible. And once I feel like I'm in it, I kind of let the bowl ring out and I just pull it up through my energy or my channel of chakras or whatever. You can just along the spine, just bring it up to your head and really feel that vibration. You're going to become really sensitive, you'll start to feel just like in the Wim Hof breathing, right before you get into cold water, your body starts to go kind of numb in a way, and you're like, I'm ready for this, and then you go in and the water's warm. You're like, what is this? The power of the mind is crazy, So the singing bowl is the same way. The sound kind of takes over your entire body, and you're just like, you let go in that, almost like floating in a way too. The water is set at the body temperature, so you can't even feel your skin. You don't even know where you are in the rest of the world. Where's that line where you are in the world is? Do you know what I mean? Like, there is no line. You are the world. The sound takes over your entire body, and it becomes that same thing. You then become that frequency, and you start vibrating on this frequency, And so it's in that I've just come up with a few different meditation techniques of my own, just messing around with singing bowls and being into meditation. And it's crazy what it's done for me, but what I've taught people, I've seen a bigger impact in other people. I think there's other meditation techniques that work better for me, but when I've taught a few different people how I use the singing bowl, and I've seen drastic changes in their life, just, from them practicing it on their time. Some people have greater willpower than I do, and I can see it, and I'm so thankful that people have that, because they probably need it more than I do. But yeah, the singing bowl is just really amazing thing. a fun little doorway into yourself.
I had to shut my eyes for a moment while you were speaking, just absorb what you were saying. And it's really beautiful when you think about like tuning the instrument of your being into something, whether it's a daily intention, whether it's before this podcast, whether it's before we jump into the cold water, whether it's just to bring you back down to homeostasis and more aligned with that universal energy and just frequency of like cosmic creation. And vibration is a beautiful way to feel that. And it seems to be that meditation in all different sorts, kind of like what you said, essentially all of these concepts are trying to bring you down to a similar place. And that seems to be sensation. Like no matter where, no matter how, no matter with who, sensation. That is your direct connection to the moment you are experiencing. I wrote my college paper on mindfulness, and what they found when we focus on our breathing and feel the sensation of our breath, inhale and exhale, the parts of the brain that register the past and the future actually shut down. You access the part of your brain that is, that primordial sense, that primal sense of focusing on the moment that you have to be in. Now, if you expand that or broaden that out a little bit more, sensation's emotion. Sensation is what happens when you do the Wim Hof breathing technique. Sensation is with the singing bowl. Sensations with music, with love, with everything, lust even, right?
Right.
Everything brings you back to that moment. Now, that's probably where, that judgmental or non-judgmental piece becomes so important. So I can feel lust and then think I'm a piece of shit because I feel that way. Oh, who are you? Why are you feeling this? Whatever. And now you're stuck in the past because you're stuck in the feeling that you were feeling.
Right.
Instead of feeling it for a moment, acknowledging it, loving it, accepting it, like, okay, I do feel this way. And then you bring it back to your breath. You hone all of those threads of your perception and sensation back into your present moment. And then you go from there. It's like truly recalibrating with each breath, with each session, with the singing bowl, with each cold shower. These are such beautiful ways to bring us back to the present moment. Working out does that for people. Yoga does that for people. And that's what becomes so fascinating for me, even in a technique that I've done twice, the singing bowls, and with no knowledge, right? So to hear your world behind that and see how well that aligns with all of these other concepts, dude, that there has to be universal truth in that. And that's, where all the different forms of religions teach love, or meditations teach patience, or whatever, man. There's real beauty in finding the commonalities across the board, which, full circle, Nick, Bruce Lee, man.
Yes.
He essentially, produced the style of Jeet Kune Do from taking the strengths from every other movement pattern, martial art, breathing technique, whichever he applied in to build his own formula, his method, his style, his everything.
Yes.
Like Jeet Kune Doing his life, man. It's one of the most beautiful things we can do as people. Is just find these gems within breathing, within cold therapy, within singing bowls, within music, within even healthy discussion. We're both feeling stuff right now.
Definitely.
Good or bad, it doesn't matter. There is sensation happening. That's beautiful.
Yes. Bruce Lee, man, he is a mystic in his own way, taking things from all these different martial arts and making pretty much his own thing. That's what I feel like we're all here to do. You know, we don't want to confine ourselves to one way of living. There's so much truth and so many different things out in the world, and we're such vast humans are. We're so vast. There's so many things that make us who we are, that by confining yourself, you're literally robbing yourself of so many great experiences, of your own growth, your own flowering, you know, going out and doing that, letting these people be massive inspirations to you. It's incredible. You know, we have everything around us. It's 2019. You have the world at your fingertips. In my mind, there's really no excuse for being ignorant. And however, you know, it is there. We are ignorant. We're human beings. No one's perfect, you know. But if you want to know an answer or you have questions, you can look it up. Don't matter where you're at. You can be on your couch. You can be on top of Bogus Basin. You can look up a question. You know, it's there. The sources are all out there, you know, and people of the past, it probably was harder for them because they didn't have technology as a tool to be able to grow consciously, you know. Technology
in a second, dude, it's unreal.
Something people a long time ago would have to pay a college degree for, or you know what I'm saying? Like people, you were able to put this on a podcast. You know, this is massive, dude.
This concept has come up quite a bit, actually, in terms of applying these resources in like the most efficient way possible. And I'm believing more and more that this may be the responsibility we have of living in this generation. You know, we have this responsibility to access this interconnected highway of information, just like our nervous system, just in the outside world, right? This beautiful highway where we can send signal to between, across the freaking galaxy, essentially, around the world to another person in a split second. We can look up harmful things online. We can look up things that help the people around us, you know, ourselves included during that moment. How do we apply these freaking tools for the betterment of others and for the good of all, man? This is pretty much why we're building this platform, to be able to share these resources, these just pieces of education that we've come across that have helped people, help myself, help the people around me, whether it's, you know, plant medicine in Peru, meditation, breathing, Wim Hof, everything that we can get our hands on, dude, that we learn how to not take advantage of or take for granted, but are able to absorb the nutrients from each different method. And then that's, you know, like kind of what we said earlier. I don't know if it was on this or not, but when we absorb the wisdom from that moment, we're both going to absorb different parts of that concept. But that's because that's your perception that needs certain nutrients. My perception needs certain nutrients.
Right.
So when we put something out there on a podcast, dude, we've been downloaded in 22 different countries, bro.
That's awesome, man.
It's unbelievable. We've had thousands of downloads, and each person listening to this is pulling something unique for them. Just like it's unfathomable what happens when you're building a platform in the manner we're doing. Just as people, man, it's truly incredible. So people that are listening right now, that are going to be listening even 4 months from now to this episode, like your life experience, dude, is going to be shared with these people. The gems, the wisdom, the everything you've ever been able to articulate or express is going to come through your words and connect people that you may never even meet. That is so mind-blowing.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're inspiring, just inspiring love, you know. I think it's beautiful. Thank you for this opportunity, man, again, honestly.
Dude, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. This is awesome.
2 things before we progress. 1, I gotta put it out there. From our knowledge, we talked about this. Linda Lee Cadwell, the spouse of Bruce Lee, moved to Boise, Idaho I don't know if she still lives here, but if anybody listening knows how to put us in contact with her, that would be one of the most beautiful things on the planet. To be able to sit down with Linda Lee Cadwell and just talk about her experiences being married to Bruce Lee and learning from him and essentially growing up in that environment and the wisdom she pulled and everything. That would be a once in a lifetime opportunity.
That would be huge for our community and all the listeners out there, everyone, ourselves. That's massive.
It'd be huge.
Yes.
So I would be forever grateful for any person who would be able to help put that together. But to progress from here, thank you for showing up to our Saturday sunrise winter river dip.
Yes. Oh my gosh, dude. I was nervous. I just have to say I didn't get much sleep the night before because my mind was just running in circles. What is this going to be like? Trying to not get me to go. But I was completely committed from the start. I was going to do it. There's a funny story actually about this. We were sitting at home kind of chilling out. And my wife's like, you got yourself into this. Just be ready. And I'm like, all right. And I just completely just surrendered. Let it go. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be fine. Nick, this is only going to take a moment of your time, brother. And then, getting there, feeling everyone's energy. Oh my gosh, nothing but love and the power of people. You would be so surprised what the power of people will get you to do. I was in that water and I could not believe, as I was sitting in there neck deep, I was like, I am sitting in the Boise River in the middle of January, at sunrise. This is amazing. I'm strong, dude. We got this. Everyone here is beautiful. We can do this. Even if you're just putting your toes in,
completely
coming out, being a part of something like that shows that you're willing to grow. You're willing to think outside the box, live outside the box, grow as a human being, I feel like I'm getting that vibe from you. I got that vibe from the very beginning. That's something I think I can relate with and a lot of people can relate with. And it's incredible to watch it grow from my perspective, watching it grow on the internet and going and being a part of it and actually experiencing it. Just life-changing for sure.
Dude, it's so amazing that you were there with Sam and everybody else. And to watch it grow from 8 people, to 33 people in 7 days is unfathomable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And I only knew 2/3 of those people. So to have people there that I've never met before that, that someone else brought or was inspired by our social media posts or whatever, dude, a few of those people didn't know a single person in that group and they showed up.
That's amazing.
Do you know how inspiring that is? To show up to something like that, not knowing a single person, and to be welcomed with open arms and love and unity and compassion and honor and respect for one another. That is what building a community of people should be about.
Definitely. That's yeah, you said it perfectly, man.
I've been so fortunate to have, to speak with the people that showed up and to hear what they're doing because of this. The amount of confidence that we are able to pull and gain from the willingness to put ourselves in, we measured it, -2 degrees Celsius water. -2 degrees Celsius. When you put yourself in that environment, man, you are so much more willing and able to confront other aspects in your life that you should be confronting, because it may suck for a moment, but whatever, I can get through this. And that is the ultimate beauty in the actual experience itself. Is damn, I can be cold for a few minutes, I can think I'm numb, but when I get warmed up, it's okay, that happened, we did it, we made it through it, now let's go again.
Yeah.
Dude, that's it's undeniable.
Power of the mind, man, really, They say a child doesn't know what cold water or the feeling of cold is until someone comes along and is like, oh, that's cold. And then they're like, oh, that's cold.
Interesting.
You know?
I could see that.
And so it's kind of one of those things, we do it to ourselves. We put ourselves we make ourselves too comfortable. And the world we live in is set up for that. They don't want us to think outside the box. They don't want us to be outside of our comfort zone. They have us trapped in this way,
That's how we gain strength.
That's exactly how. And yeah, going back to power of numbers, being in that environment, I was nervous about getting in that water, but seeing all these people run past me, just diving into this freezing water, I'm like,
that blew my mind. Yeah. First of all, Brendan was the first person in the video, even just full dive in. I'm just like, dude, you're
amazing.
Crazy.
He is amazing. That's amazing, dude.
That
was inspiring. Brendan, very inspirational. I met him just that for a brief moment. Hadn't really gotten a chance to speak with him, but that was incredible. For me, I saw him dive in and I was like, that's my trigger. I'm in, And once you're in, it's really not that bad. You fight with your own mind, but you can overcome it. And that's what that breathing technique does. It helps overcome that.
Completely.
As a matter of fact, I actually watched one of your older podcasts last night. Dude, I didn't know you had long hair. It was beautiful, bro.
Thank you, brother. That's actually why there's a lion in here. That's why that vibe means a lot to me.
Iron like a lion in Zion.
I like that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Bob Marley, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. But you were actually speaking on a topic, how much you can accomplish in just 1 hour. Time is a tool, and it really is a tool. It's something we can become the victim of time, and you can be lazy, get caught up in your mind. But really, all these things that come into our daily life can be tackled in a matter of seconds. Just going and doing it. And these cold showers have helped me immensely with energy, with being able to tackle these minor things that I put off because my own just being lazy, not wanting to do it. And really, it doesn't take any time. It doesn't take energy, but cold water therapy, changing my life. I'm on day 8 right now. A couple days ago, I took 3 cold showers in a day. I was kind of just experimenting, when I had a lull in my energy, I was like, what? Let's do a breathing exercise, hop in that shower, spike yourself, get back up to that level again. And it did. I felt rejuvenated. It activates your cannabinoid receptors and and I get kind of giggly, and maybe that is the activation of these different chemicals going on in your body. But through that, I'm so alive, man. Every inch of my body is tingling with aliveness, Incredible.
There's nothing like it.
No.
And it's so cool. So just to kind of put out there, I guess, the Boise Weekly was there. And so one of the guys, Harrison, super, super cool dude, he went in the water with us and he interviewed us for 2 hours afterwards. And we were talking about how when you try and bring somebody into a meditation, introducing them to the Wim Hof or cold therapy, cold exposure is such a perfect way to open people up to that realm, because it does not matter who you are going to feel that. And so many people sit down for 2 minutes, get bored, I'm not getting anything, and they stand up and they leave. You're not going to feel that way if you get in the cold river. It's going to jolt you presently into the moment. You're going to feel the breathing techniques to prime the nervous system, to release the natural painkillers in your body, to combat disease and stress and soothe you from the inside out, release the T and B cells from your bone marrow to fight inflammation in the body, the root of all disease. And dude, it's unbelievable what happens in that freaking world. I've also learned that when we breathe this way, I know we're getting hyped about this, dude. It's freaking incredible.
I can feel the cold shower now, honestly.
I can kind of feel it too. It's amazing. Yeah. And I've also learned that when you do that breathing technique, you bring your pH levels in your blood to an alkaline level, which it's like tuning your body to a frequency that your nervous system loves to communicate through. It's like, oh, there's that channel I like. It just knows how to communicate through that, connecting and shooting signals through your whole body, man. That's where those tingling sensations come through. Just the pumping of your sympathetic nervous system. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I want to get more people involved. And so, yeah, the Saturday dip in the river is just incredible. I highly advise anyone, don't matter your age, come out. We had a little girl, 10 years old, get in the river, and it was your father, I believe, 55 years old. Don't mean to be spitting out ages out there, but I'm just
10
saying,
to
like,
55.
yeah, that's incredible, man. That's truly incredible. In a matter of 2 weeks, getting 33 people involved in something like this, not because we want them, but because they want to be involved. Massive, massive movement happening, I think, here in Boise,
Dude, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Dude, thank you.
For helping.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I had no choice. I surrendered to the moment. Things started happening. Life has presented itself to me, and all of us, we have the option to take it as it comes or disregard it and go on our own way or whatever, the way that you think you should be living, or you can just let life take you away, man, Literally, life is just a breeze, and we're just kites flying away out in the wind.
I like that. We are 52 minutes in, and I would like to kind of transition this towards the end with what are some of the benefits that meditation or cold therapy or singing bowls or just paying more attention to your internal self or Osho or the breathing are just becoming more aware and more mindful. What are some of the real deep benefits that come from that kind of work, that kind of patience, that kind of ability to put yourself in those moments? Why should people put themselves in a moment to become the observer in their life and of the lives around them? What has this really helped you do or feel in your life?
Everyone, we live here in the West, in Idaho. We're out here on the West Coast, essentially living in modern day. This is crazy. We have so much technology around us, so much distractions all the time. You drive down the freeway and you see people's faces. They're angry, they're tense. Kids are yelling, parents are yelling at their children to be quiet, whatever. You take a back road, complete opposite. People are waving. It's chill. It's vibed out. You can go as slow as you want to. People, do your own thing, We have there are outlets to living a slower and more chilled life. Meditation we need it more now than ever before, I believe. People are waking up. I'm seeing a conscious shift in America. I follow this guy named Ralph Smart on YouTube, and he has a channel called Deep Divers, Infinite Waters. And so he did a prediction of 2019. And this prediction so far in my life, in my experiences of 2019, if we're going to time things out and put an era on something, he's been spot on. And what I mean by that is he predicted that there's going to be a huge conscious shift. It's going to grow deeper and deeper. It's going to become more embedded in people's lives here in America. And there's going to be a split, he says, between the people who don't want to be meditative and the people who are meditative. And you're going to see it become more and more noticeable in our daily lives, And so far, I have seen it a little bit more and more. The more that I pay attention, the more I'm seeing it. A lot of people don't want to be woken up. They want to continue to be living in their life. And there's nothing wrong with it, because at some point, they will wake up. You plant little seeds. I could say something to one person who comes into Eyes of the World, and they may not take anything from it. But when they go home, what I've said is going to go into their subconscious, and it's going to come out one day, and they're going to contemplate it. They're going to think about it, and it's going to lead to something so beautiful. And so meditation is just one of those things that just has helped me. Like I said earlier, I was such a spastic little kid, so full of energy, couldn't hold still, always outside playing, run around the house 6 times, before I go eat dinner because my mom's like, you need to chill. So, yeah, meditation has literally helped me channel my energy better, put it into positive things, transforming my mindset not to be victimize myself in these little ways, break the conditioning of the past, become my own authentic self, who I really want to be, not who people are trying to tell me who to be, or society is telling me to be a certain person. I am just trying to be my truest authentic self. And meditation is my way into myself, when I close my eyes and I just focus on my breathing, letting the breath become the vehicle. There's a gap between the in and the out. And I've been focusing and practicing this meditation technique for really intensely for about 2 months now. I floated for the first time in self-deprivation tanks down at Stillwater, and it was life-changing. Words do no justice. Absolutely. If you haven't experienced it, experience it, and you go in and you literally attune your heartbeat, because everything becomes so quiet. Your heartbeat almost becomes everything, and you just focus your breathing and just tune that heartbeat up with your breathing. And it's almost in a way like aligning your goals with your life and focusing that breathing of Wim Hof's method with your body and getting deep into your cells. It's really all the same in a really, really weird kind of a way. It's not even weird. It's really beautiful, actually, how it's all the same. But yeah, these meditations really will change your life. Breathing, focusing on that breath, the in-breath, surrendering through each breath, even the in-breath, you breathe in, surrender everything you have to the now. Breathe out, surrendering everything you have to the now, but still being complacent inside yourself, sitting there and just feeling everything. Cold water is incredible. It helps me. I still feel it because I took a cold shower about an hour before I showed up here, and my body is still tingling. I'm still radiant. I feel everything. It's changing my life though. And
dude, I know exactly what you mean about still feeling the cold, and I can still feel it from Saturday. But it's weird when you get into judgment. I can feel that, and I can associate it with being bad when it really is just sensation. It's just a part of existence that is happening within us and around us. And you're probably gonna feel different things than what you've ever felt before. And to judge that, saying it's worse right off the bat, it's probably a more immature move than we may realize. What is being mature? What is like true wisdom? Being patient, being able to be through the process and know you'll be okay at the end of the process. Like the true wise people fear nothing because they know there's gold within each emotion, each feeling, each experience as a person. The anger, the heartbreaks, the everything. And then you eventually, have this pot of gold where each coin is like a certain experience and they're all worth the same. There is different coins.
Definitely. That's beautiful, man. Yeah, one more thing I just want to say is like going back to that question you asked me is 2 meditation techniques have really helped me out. Dynamic meditation by Osho. It's like a 4 or 5 step meditation. I've been doing it off and on for a couple years now. And it's something I think people could definitely grow from. It helps specifically with stress and anxiety. And then, yeah, I could go into that. It's a whole nother spiel. Do research on it, and it's one of those things and Wim Hof method, getting there too. That's new to my life about a week and a half now. And I can already tell it's changed my life in 100 million different ways that I never would have expected. And as a meditator, I'm so blessed to have this method become part of who I am, And it's changing me every single day, you know, that cold water showers. Every single day I'm a new person again.
Well, it changes the chemistry in your body. It changes the chemical makeup in which we live in. Like,
Yeah, what
no
more?
more words,
Yeah.
dude. And when we are able as people to tap in to feel when we feel good and when we feel bad after drinking, after whatever, you feel the differences from that vibration, that realm of behavior and operation, opposed to doing 3 rounds of Wim Hof breathing. There is a vast difference. And it's, for me, it's been pretty hard to go back to the latter, being more deeply involved in the higher vibration, but also being able to hone that frequency back down with proper breathing techniques and floating and real meditation, man. I mean, to find your own equilibrium in frequency is a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, is coming back to that ball of consciousness, being the watcher on the hill, you know, watching your life kind of go, separating yourself from it and realizing that that's not who you are, but you are the watcher inside. When problems come up, you know, you can separate yourself from them, or you can become a victim and then it can affect you in a negative way, you know, or you could separate yourself. And how you do that? Focus on that breathing, you know. It's all coming back to the breath. They've been talking about breathing techniques for centuries. You know, Buddha, he became enlightened breathing, just focusing on his breathing. There's nothing more than that. All masters and gurus have been talking about the same thing all these centuries down the line. They've been talking about the same exact thing. And the mind continues to not want to accept it. Buddha used to say things 3 times. The first time, because he knew you didn't hear it. The second time, your mind tried to manipulate it and take what it wanted. The third time, you finally are hearing what he's telling you. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those crazy things. The mind is very, very deceptive. You try to live outside of the mind more and more. Turn that radio down and start experiencing life. I get online and I see people trolling and just bashing on all these things, and it seems like they don't even have their own experience. It's like, go out and experience these things that people are talking about. There's a lot of beautiful things happening around the world right now, and it's just a matter of going out, becoming a part of it, putting yourself out there to do better things for yourself, for your own community, the people around you. That's what this life is for me. Growing, becoming a flower, becoming your highest potential.
You are a wonderful human being. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So much for being here.
Absolutely. It's an honor, man. And right back at you. You're a massive inspiration to me over this past week. Something I've shared with my wife. She is my best friend, my everything, literally my inspiration. She's in the water before I am, and she does it. I'm going to do it. You can bet your ass. She's amazing. I love her so much. And you've inspired us both greatly, and we both are the type of people who are going to go out and just keep on reciprocating, you know, giving back. I love to give back. So massive thank you to you, Zarin, for everything, man. Appreciate it. Dude. Beyond words.
Beyond words. It's so mutual. Both of you, even in the short amount of time that we've been building our relationship, have benefited my life in so many ways. I mean, you are like forever a staple in this room now, you and Sam.
Right on.
That is just unbelievable. Fucking grateful, man. Thank you again.
Dude, thank you.
This is so beautiful.
Of course.
I hope to see you on Saturday.
Definitely, I'll be there, man.
That's amazing. I think, honestly, most of the people that came are going to be there again.
Yes.
And that's incredible.
I'm excited to see it grow more. I'm excited just to, you know, start talking to more of these people, making connections. Yeah, that's what I love, is connecting. Going back to when I met you at Eyes of the World, seeing you, there's a connection felt before spoken, and then speaking and talking to you just kind of solidified it in my being. you know? And that's what I'm all about. Meeting incredible people who are trying to better themselves in the world that we live in. And who doesn't want to be a part of something like that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Nick, thank you, man.
Thank you, Zarin.
Until next time.